Okay, we are live. And hi everyone, welcome to the Omakase Show webinar series. My name is Elena, I'm co-host. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Omakase Show, we mainly have Twitter Spaces weekly and weekly webinars, which I'm hosting, and we also are launching our podcast super soon, which will be recorded in studio. It will be an amazing content. But yeah, today you're joining one of our webinars where we showcased amazing talented digital artists in the space. And to have we have a super special guest, CyberSea. Just a little bit of a backstory. Me and CyberSea, we met during NFT Rome like a few days ago. But I was familiar with his work for a really long time. And so, yeah, thank you so much for joining us today and welcome. Can you just tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what do you do?
GM, yeah, sure. I'm generative artist, currently releasing on Ordinals. At least my last collection, Deus Ex Machina, was released on Ordinals, and it was quite a big success. Uh, I mostly create art of things that really moves me, so it's more like an pop art style and things like that, not really the I don't know, like reproduction of old paintings and so on. No, it's rather about current pop culture, like comics, like steampunk and things like that. Yeah, I'm also a curator on Vivid and GMDAO. And yeah, I think that's enough for the introduction.
Amazing. And I know you kind of like had an interesting transaction to Web3. So I know you have a technical background, and during COVID, you kind of merged into Web3. And I wanted to ask you to tell us a little bit about this story, but I was also wondering if you can tell us what were those digital artists that inspired you along this transition to creating your digital art collection?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I will start from the beginning. So during COVID pandemic, as probably many of us, I've been in a lockdown, so cannot really leave home, was not going to my work anymore, just working from home office and so on. And because of that, I have a lot of free time and I want to somehow utilize it. And as always in my life, I was somehow connected with technology because I was a programmer, yeah, for whole my professional career, and even before in my study time and school time, I was programming some small application because yeah, it was something that I know that I want to do. Uh, yeah, I wanted to investigate what the blockchain is, how this technology is working, and to really dive deep into that one. And yeah, I started to buy some trading, by checking how to program smart contracts and so on. And in fact, by accident, I found some post on Twitter about GMDAO, and they said there was like you post GM, solve some puzzle, and you can then join the community. And yeah, I done it just for fun, and it occurs that it was a really community that was interested in generative art. And when I learned about the generative art, I found that it's something that I really want to do. So since that time, I was working to learn to try to do my own projects and to create my own art because yeah, as I also mentioned, art as a whole was also something that was influencing my life. uh, I was, for example, painting some physical miniatures like the small plastic things with really small brushes and so on. And I was really painting a lot of this stuff. And yeah, and about the artist, it's not easy question because there is a lot of artists that really influenced me. I, for example, really love works of some Polish artists like Beksiński or Siódmak, which I really found great. And but I think the most important thing that I look into the art is when it tells some story. So I don't really want art just for art's sake, but rather I trying to look into art that try to sell something, have some meaning, that is some kind of metaphor, and yeah, and so on. And maybe from a more known artist, if I have to choose one, it will be Salvador Dali, which I really admire all his works and also the stories behind his works.
Yeah, he's an amazing figure actually. And so I want to go to your kind of like creative process, to your works. And I will be sharing my screen right here. We have, can you see my screen, right?
No, I only see right now
Yeah.
the background. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe now it's loading.
Yeah. Okay, so I think you can see it. I have your collection
Yeah,
here that you created with withwith, and we've been like on this private event sitting around together. And one artist said that the artworks you generate are extremely complex. Like she has no idea how to generate something like this. And so basically, it made me like super curious. Can you tell us a little bit more about the collection, about the idea, and maybe like some technological process behind it, how to generate not the same scene but something at least similar.
yeah, sure. I will maybe start with the first question. So about the art creating process, which I think is really different from artist to artist. And I found it personally really important because there is two school that you can follow here. One in generative art is finding some algorithm, like for example, flow fields or um, some polygons, subdivision or something like this, and just follow the algorithm and try to build something from it that is really, really interesting and good looking. And second school that actually I am part of, and this is how I am building the project, is think about the your inspiration and how the final piece should look, and later on just try to find the algorithm that will suit the best the final effect that you have in mind. So case of Deus Ex Machina, it is really complex because I use here a lot of algorithm and also create my own that was not really, I guess, used in generative art before. And in fact, for example, because as you know, this work is animated. So if you go for a second to the Magic Eden website uh,
Yeah.
and share it, I
Hmm.
can show you how to, yeah, how to show the animated version. So choose just one output, and if you scroll a bit down,
Hmm.
you will see a bit up. There is, yeah, this. Below attributes, you see attributes, yeah, a bit down still to the next, yeah, in details. And here you should have probably a few lines down the link in content and link button. You
Hmm.
see it?
Yeah, I see.
And if you click it, actually it will show you the page where is on-chain version of the piece. If you
Should I
click the
add
link,
this part to the link, right? Here, I think so.
you can just click the link. It's a button.
Somehow it's not clickable. Let me try it
Uh,
this way, maybe.
do you see the?
Okay.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Link with this dot. Oh,
Oh,
here.
yeah, I see. Amazing. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and now it's rendering in real time. And when in render, you can click button toggle animation.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see it? And
Whoa,
just
wow.
move the mouse, and you will see it moving. And also you can actually see all the threads that build this piece. And what is also quite important, the speed of the gears that is rotating right now is connected to the Bitcoin blockchain. So you have these blocks that is mined around each 10 minutes. It's not always 10 minutes because it depends, but this is, I guess, most common value here. And it works like this, that when the block is mined, you will see that the steam is released, so the whole image will be, there will be much more fog on it and smoke, and all gears will really, really slow down. And then they will be slowly going faster and faster and faster and faster until the next block will be mined. So you can actually observe how the Bitcoin blockchain is living, watching at this art. And yeah,
Crazy.
but
That is crazy. And I'm also wondering, so I'm looking like a little bit closer, and you have some views that are a little bit like closer to you, and some are separated. And I cannot believe that this is generated. Like, it is crazy. Wow.
yeah, in fact, the this final connection to the blockchain was, in fact, the easiest part of the whole artwork that I was working on, because I guess the hardest one was to create actually working machine. Because as you can see, the gears are actually connected to each other, and they moving like it will be the real engine or something like this. The cylinders are going up and down, connected to the gears, and everything is working. I was analyzing some schema and of the real engines to get this working. And just imagine that you need to find some mathematical formula for how many tubes in the gear need to be connected to how many tubes in a second gear, and how it will affect the rotation speed of each of them, and how the size will affect it, and so on and so on. So yeah, it's the type of knowledge and patterns and equation that you cannot really find in Google if you start to looking, because yeah, it is something I think quite unique, and this is not the problem that people solve every day, how to connect gears and how to build the image from it. But yeah, so at least for me in this work, that was the probably the hardest part, um,
That's
to actually create it.
That is super impressive. And so you've been actually mentioning that you used like several algorithms to generate this collection. And basically, can you explain what is algorithm? And maybe like you can tell us some of the most popular algorithms and how do they work? I hope this question makes sense because me myself, I'm curious. What is algorithm in in this type of case? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. For example, you probably know one of most known collection like Fidenza, and in that collection there was used algorithm called flow fields. which means that you create a matrix of vectors and put a bit of noise to them to create this shapes that is creating something like a flow field. And for example, these algorithms are well known. So if you are working on generative art, you can spot it in many collections. And I, for example, also use it in my collection here because the pipes, which make some part of the background, use this algorithm. So they have this flow shape and they are going through the piece and exactly like in the same way, like in Fidenza, you have these paint strokes going through the piece. So this is one of our algorithms that I use. So basically, algorithm um, is the list of commands that you send to the programming engine, which will have some which will create some output that you know that will be quite similar in each cases. I
Okay,
guess
okay.
this is how I can explain it really
This,
shortly.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It is actually like super clear and understandable. And I'm sharing my screen once again because like you also shared with me this collection, and I think it's beautiful. I know this is like a little bit like earlier than another one you shared before. This one is on Ethereum, also generated. So can you please tell us more about this one, how you created it, what were your thoughts behind it?
Yeah, sure. That one was, in fact, inspired by comics. As you can see, the output is looking a bit like comic strips. So you can just imagine that this is the comic where some action is actually going in. And yeah, I take the color palettes from most popular characters, heroes, villains, and some comic books. So you can see that there is, for example, Spider-Man piece on the left, this 3 to 1. Next to it is the Batman piece, and so on and so on. Yeah, and this collection was, as you previously mentioned, on Ethereum. It was also quite successful, but the mint was really funny because yeah, Deus Ex Machina was minted in like few minutes because there was so much hype when it was released, and that was not really the case during the bank mint. In fact, it takes a week to mint out. It was released during the Flatland show on Alba. And the story behind this, that it meant like 150 pieces in the first day. It's free collection. And next for whole week, it was minting like 6 pieces, which was not much, but also the mint was going forward, so it was still really good. And then on Saturday, I remember that Pranksy found this collection, and he just minted 5. Then a lot of bots enter, and then he sweep the floor and take another 15 or 16 pieces. And yeah, the volume was so high from nowhere that OpenSea, in fact, think that it is some bots going on that collection, and they block it for 24 hours. So yeah, it was quite a story back then, and I was really nervous and so on. What is happening? Why they banned this collection? and there was even some post by Pranks and a few other influencers why they blocked this collection. So it was quite loud thing. And after 24 hours, they wrote to me some email with apology, but yeah, the bad side of this whole situation was that the volume that I have at the beginning after Francis sweeps not really come back. So yeah, OpenSea kills it a bit, but still, I think it's even better, in fact, because all bots just sell with some losses, and collectors get the pieces who want to get them and to just keep them in their vaults. Wow.
I'm sorry, I have two dogs, so it's a little it's crazy.
No worry.
And so you mentioned that Do Ex Machina had more success when you were like meeting. Why do you think it happened? What is it that you did with marketing or with your communications that this collection sold out a little bit better than the previous one?
I think it have, in fact, many reasons. First of all, I guess Deus Ex was released in much better timing because it was released on February this year, which was a much better time to release the collection because we have this mini bull market for ordinals at this moment. And also it was released with collaboration with Vivid, which is a really great studio. And that also helped a lot because Vivid as a studio have a lot of great collectors that actually know about the collection and wanted to collect it. And I just have much better reach when working with Vivid than when I was working almost alone with the previous one. Because yeah, it's really important to when you release the collection to have some communities that is backing you. Because for the single artist who is trying to somehow survive in this really hard and difficult space, it's important to have people that will just start the things. Because when you, for example, release some collection, then everyone is looking who is minting, and it's this first minute when people are not sure if they should mint or not, and what they should do, and so on. And for that, you need people that believe in you or believe in your art or just mint for some other reason, maybe because of hype or something like this. And yeah, this is why it's so important to have strong communities behind you because they can start. Then after they start the mint, actually, other peoples will come. But this beginning is really, really important.
Thank you so much. And so you already mentioned Weavit, and I want you to tell us a story on how you joined Weavit. And maybe for some artists out there, what do you think is this concept of being artists just representing themselves, or is it better to find a proper galleries that would be representing you and helping you with things like that? Which concept would you think is working out a little bit better for artists in general? And yeah, and how you joined with it.
Okay, so I will start with how I joined Vivid. It was some lucky coincidence, in fact, because I was releasing really, really small collection during some advent calendar event. It was like a totally free collection for um, just to have fun, in fact. And it was like this that there was a riddle each day, and some artist was giving 10 pieces of really, really small collection to the people who solved the riddle. And there was 24 artists that participated, and I was one of them, and also Medusa and Arto was inside this pool of artists. And that was just, I guess, 2 weeks after Arto released his Golden Ratio collection, which was a great success. And yeah, to be honest, I give him my congratulation and just ask him how was his cooperation with Vivid, how it looks, and so on. And he convinced me that it was great and I should consider releasing with them. So yeah, after that, I have a call with Arto and Gerard, who is Vivid CEO, and we talk about my collection, about Vivid, how they approach things, and I really think that they are building something special there. So, because they really care about the collections, which is not usual, in fact, because they are supporting them also after the release. Most of studios just make a collection, they do marketing before the release, and after that, they not really care and not do much about it. But in Vivid, this is at least for me one of the most important thing. They really care. They try to make some exhibition. They still promote it through spaces, through other, through showing it with other collection whenever they have the opportunity. So yeah, I think it's a great approach, and it also really good for the collectors because as an artist, you should care about your collectors. And with this approach, I think is the best way to show some love to the collectors who actually take your work, they like it, they want to have it in their wallets. So you should do whatever you can to, yeah, make this experience the best for them.
Amazing. Yeah, Vivid is super responsible and they have an amazing artist. And so I also wanted to ask you, what was your like favorite collection, generative probably, right? That made you fall in love with generative art in general?
Hmm. I think it's a quite hard question because there was quite a lot of collection that I really love. Of course, I seen hmm, which collection will be so special. Let me think. I think the one that really moves me when I was at this beginning of my generative art journey was Catharsis from Dario Lanza. It was back then really something great, something moving for me because it was not only the algorithm that was somehow in a really good way um, imitating the real brush strokes and so on, but it also have a lot of other things like building triptychs in the collection, like connecting these pieces and so on. So yeah, I think that was the collection that somehow moves me, that somehow helped me to think as generative art in not so hmm, not so strict way because it's not just a piece, but you can do something more with it. You can play with it, make some fun, make some interactivity with the actual collector. So he can do something more than just having it in his world.
Sounds amazing. Thank you so much. And so I was wondering, for artists that are listening to this webinar, can you share some tips? So, what would be your tips for artists either emerging or for artists who didn't yet join the Web3 space? What would you recommend? How to start? What to do?
It always depends. It depends about your position that you have right now in the art world. If you are a really experienced artist that, for example, have a lot of collector in traditional world, or you are just entering Web3 and want to find some way to create your art, like for example me, because I wasn't professional artist before I started working in Web3. Uh, then, if you are just starting in Web3 and not have already established collector base, then I think you shouldn't start, in fact, with art because if you start releasing art, it will be extremely hard for you to sell it or even to show it because when you try to just sell your piece to someone, then the natural thing is that the people say, no, I don't want to buy anything. I just don't care at this moment. And yeah, why I should buy your piece and not the 1,000 other pieces that are currently somewhere in the market? And in my opinion, you should start by joining some communities, making some connections that will help you to push even the small collection and to really be sure that it will sell out in minutes, maybe hours at maximum. But you need to be, for example, I always think about it like this way, that I need to be sure that at least 50% of collection will be sold out like this. And to have it, I, for example, during my first collection that was on Tezos, I just created the whitelist from people from cyber brokers, from Impic, from GMDAO, and so on, and from ADM. And I just have enough people that I know that somehow value me as an artist, as a person, and that believe that the things that I create have some future, that they will just buy it, even just to help me somehow. And that is this first step to just find these people that want to your art, want to help you as a person. And yeah, I think that's the most important thing here. After that, after you have some solid base and you actually sell your first collection, then you can go further and start to market into other communities, create some additional giveaways just to spread the attention about your art, about your collections. But first step is just joining some communities, making some friends, and tell them about your art, and even sell it for almost zero, just to show these people that you want to create and that you also value them, so they can somehow help you and value you.
Thank you so much. That's an amazing answer. And I'm curious, I've been thinking about it. So, how many hours does it take to generate a collection? This is like a first question. And what takes longer, to do a proper marketing to sell out the collection or to create the collection itself?
In case of generative art, in fact, the creating art is really time consuming. For example, for Deus Ex, which was my last collection, it take me like 7, maybe and 8 months to create it. It was really a lot of code that I need to write, a lot of research that I have to do, and so on. And what is also, I think, quite unique in my approach to creating art is that all my collection is really different from each other. Because, for example, if you have traditional artist that is creating for example, painting the portraits, then you know that even if these portraits are really, really similar one to each other, then he put the same work in each of them to create it. And in case of generative art, I think this is fair to create the really unique collection that is really different, but of course you need to have some common parts to show your style and to show that you are actually the creator. But still, I think creating unique is more important than in normal art because it's code. You can copy paste everything. It's and it will not be fair to collectors if you made something similar and just change, I don't know, 5% of the code and have another collection. At least for me, it will be not fair. So this is why, for example, you can see how much different is, for example, Deus Ex from Bank. It's There is no common thing. Maybe the idea is somehow similar as I still exploring some trends that I really like, that here is comics, here is steampunk and so on. So, but it takes a lot of time, especially if you want to create your own algos and you want to create something totally distinct from the previous work that you've done.
Thank you so much. And so basically, for example, me, I can just find code to Fidenza, for example, copy paste it, and I would have the Fidenza in a way, right? Like visually.
Yeah, true. This
Wow.
is really easy thing, in fact, because, for example, all my collection are on chain, so this code is actually uploaded to the Bitcoin or Ethereum in case of bank. And the same is for Fidenza and many other generative art collections. But, this is why we have blockchain to prove that you were the first who actually upload this code to the blockchain, because making a really similar collection by just taking the code is really easy, but it will have no value. It's like, I don't know, copying Mona Lisa. You can do it, you can make a photo from it, but it will not make it valuable.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like anyone can actually like redraw Mona Lisa with a set of skills and like Starry Night by Van Gogh. And so basically one was saying about this one is that oh wow, I forgot my question. That is so weird. But oh yeah, I know it's about a little bit about the process, the creative coding process. So basically when you're typing a code, you can see the output in this process, or you're like typing a code, and once you're done, then only then you can see the artwork, or you can actually check it in between like this coding blocks that you're creating.
Yeah, you can check it in between. In fact, when I working, I have two monitors, one with the output that is generated in live and one with code. And so I see each change that I done almost, when it only work. Because of course, when I'm typing some sentence, some line, then it needs to be finished to have it. But whenever you save the file, then the image is refreshing and show you the changes. So basically, that's the process.
It's amazing. I've been working once with generative artists and once I visited an exhibition. It was actually Finger Code. I think you know his artworks, maybe. And so he was exhibiting in London and he had like a digital screen and he had a computer so he can actually launch the code like in real life. So I saw this code and he was like trying to explain to me how it works and it was like super complex. And like even by the length of the code, you can understand how many times the person put into it to actually make it true. And so I will be like asking the last question of our webinar. I wanted to ask you what's up next for you? What are some next projects you're working on? Is this a collection that you're also planning to do? So yeah, just tell us a little bit about your plans, future plans.
Yeah, sure. So right now, I think that during working on Deus Ex, I found that what really excites me is two really cool, I think, sentences. So blockchain as a canvas, and also now I want to add to that data as a pigment. So basically, in my next collection, I want to combine it and really use blockchain as a canvas, like in Deus Ex, but in a much more complex way. So in Deus Ex, I was just taking the time of the blocks. In my new collection, I will take much more data and try to utilize it and show actually in my artwork. So it will be really, really data driven. And of course, it will, as all my collection have a really distinct style of the whole artwork. It will not be any pipes there or gears anymore. In fact, it will be more science fiction, futuristic piece. I not share it yet on any socials. In fact, I was only sharing it during NFT ROM between artists and some collectors that was during this Vivid Artist Retreat. But that was all. It's still a lot of work that I want to put in that collection, so probably it will take me like 2, maybe 3 months to still to have it finished. But I'm pretty sure that it will be really unique and it will be something that was not done yet in generative art because I again create my own algorithm that is not really the broadly used one, like for example this float field or polygon subdivision or others. And yeah, basically that, I guess, what I can say right now about it, because
Sounds amazing.
I don't
I want
want to spoil the surprise yet.
exactly. I'm like super curious about it. Just one was saying it will be dropping in partnership with Vivid Gallery and Iris Ordinals or not.
Yeah, probably yes. Of course, it will depend how the situation will be when I will be dropping. As I said, it will be 2, 3, maybe even more months. So it will take still some time. But yeah, I plan to definitely stay with Vivid. And what is also, I guess, important is that, of course, again, as it's with every Vivid collection, if you hold my Deus Ex Machina, you will probably you will for sure have some whitelist for my new Vivid collection. So because it's working like this, that if you have the Genesis collection, then you are whitelisted to all other collections of specific artists. And I will also probably in meantime work on some really specific pieces like one-on-one just to show some interesting concepts because there is a bit different approach when you try to create one-on-one on some auction and so on, and when you try to create collection of 400 pieces, you can do much more things working on one-on-one. Like for example, make this piece really, really stand out with some symmetry and so on, which you cannot do in the main collection because it will affect the variety and things like that.
Sounds amazing. I want to thank you for coming, for sharing your experience. I'm really excited about your upcoming collection. And yeah, thank you so much for being here today. And for our listeners, we will be live next week with another guest. So stay tuned.
Thank you very much for all your question and for being such a nice host.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. Bye.
Bye bye.